Welcome to the program. This is What's Your Story? My name is Catherine Mwangi. We're here at the Acacia Premier Hotel in Kisumu County. A huge gratitude to the management of this beautiful place for hosting us. Our guest today is a young man. If you recall, the governor of this county mentioned his name a couple of weeks back as a man who is building communities and having an impact, especially in the areas of technology and innovation in this county. James Odede. Karibu sana.
Asante.
We are happy to have you.
Thank you.
So your name was mentioned by the man who oversees this county. I need to know that relationship.
It's an honor.
Yes.
Well, for me, he's my governor.
Yes.
That's the first thing.
Yes.
And he's very supportive of what young people do. So I get to bother him a lot.
Okay.
So that's why maybe my name starts with him.
How do you bother him? In what ways?
Just like with ideas on how he can improve the situation of young people in the county. If I need help, if I need advice. Yeah, so I get to be in his face quite a bit.
Oh,
so,
that is, you're so privileged then,
I must say. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll come to how you have those conversations with him about developing young people. But for now, let's get to know a bit about how you grew up, where you were born, your family back then.
Well, I was born and raised in Homa Bay.
Okay.
Homa Bay County, and specifically in Homa Bay Town. The fourth of 7.
Okay.
So a big family. And my dad was a primary school teacher, and my mom was a tailor.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born in 91, in October, and I grew up in a big family. Back then, I would not call Homa Bay rural.
Yes.
Unless you're from Nairobi, you'd call us rural. But it was like a mix of both rural and some sort of urban setting, because we spent some time in the village. But most of our time was in Homa Bay Town.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like being a middle child? Were you seen? Were you seen? You know, it's always the last ones or the first ones.
Yeah. Looking back, it was a good thing being a middle child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there wasn't a lot of attention on you, so you could get away with many things. Because your parents are always about the last ones or the first ones.
Yes.
If they pay too much attention, they'll get to number 3. Hardly will they get to number 4.
Yes.
For me, I think that also contributed to my personality.
Which is?
Which is getting busy in my own space.
Because you were left to do your thing.
Yeah, I was left to do my thing most of the time, you know. So I enjoy being in my own space.
Yes.
Doing something alone doesn't mean that I'm lonely.
Yes. You're introverted? Or ambi?
I think, it's a mix.
I
get to enjoy my space, but I'm comfortable in crowds as well.
Yeah, you're not a loner.
Yeah, I'm not really a loner.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I'm introverted to the extremes. But I think all of us have. I once did a survey that categorized me 60% extroverted and 40% introverted. Yeah, so
these percentages.
There
Trust a tech guy to find something like that.
There's always some statistics to it.
Trust a tech guy to find it. You're the only people who find it.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your own space, so what are those things you used to do by yourself alone? Did you have a favorite brother or sister? The one maybe before you, the one after you?
Ahead of me was a brother. After me is a girl.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister. So I was a troublemaker, I guess, maybe because I was looking for attention always. So I would always pick up fight with my elder brother. So you felt
attention deprived then?
Somehow.
But in retrospect, you were happy?
Yes, I was happy. Because I would pick fight with my elder bro or my younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, I should be noticed for some reason or the other. But it was a humble childhood, and I really enjoyed my childhood.
That's nice.
I lived in a place which was it's not the best of reputations in Homa Bay.
Okay.
It's called Shauriako, even just by the name.
You're left to your own wheels.
Like, it's up to you. You know how you ended up here, it's up to you. How you get out of this place is up to you. Because it was a slum kind of a setting.
Okay.
But that also meant that there was just a lot of things going on. Like, you would not be bored as a kid. There was just too much thing to engage in. A mix of good and bad things, you know. So, but it took parents that were very firm in their upbringing to maintain us on the good lane, as they called it. Yeah.
Especially with one being a teacher.
Yes.
Yes.
With my dad being a teacher,
yes.
he was always keen on what we're doing, how we're performing in school,
yeah.
what you're up to. He would set up rules and guidelines, and he would reverse them when he felt there was need.
It was his house after all.
Yes,
yes.
7 p.m. should not find you out. If you grew a little older, you would add it to maybe 7:30. Much younger is 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he knew that it wasn't the safest place to bring up children, so he had to put in some limits.
Be strict a bit.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So at what point did you know that you're a techie, an innovator?
Well, I always find it difficult to understand my dad because of in one area, in one aspect, we grew up in a slum dwelling, which is like categorized by poverty and hardship, but still within that setting, as much as we grew up in a mabati house, it was his own, like he built it, so we didn't have to have any issues with rent.
Yes.
And still he was still able to bring piped water, so he was still trying to accord us some really good things. And also he got interested himself in computers.
Okay.
When computers are becoming a lot more accessible from a business perspective. Yes. So he opened up a business for, back in the day, typing and printing services.
Like the cyber cafes?
Yes. Then they're not called cyber cafes because there was not anything close to a cafe kind of a setting, at least, especially the ones in Homa Bay. Yeah, so the first time I ever saw a computer, I remember, was through a bank window. So on my way to school, primary school, we'd pass through a section of the town that had banks. So just idling, you'd want to peep what goes in through here, And the windows are tinted, so you'd have to do like this.
Not knowing the people inside can see you.
Well, most of the time the banks are closed, or maybe after hours, but you'd still find the staff inside. But there was not a lot of busy work going on.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the first time I ever saw a computer.
Okay. Did you know it was a computer?
No. It was just I likened it to a television, because they were just like the same,
Yes.
But it was different. Yeah. Then I was still in primary school, and when my dad got a computer for his business. I took interest immediately. I just thought this looks like a fun thing, but reaching it was not easy. You could see it right there, but you could not come close to it because for good reason. As a businessman, he always wanted his machines to be up and running, and the common understanding then, they were prone to breakages. If there was something wrong with the computer, you'd have to take a trip to Nairobi to find a fundi. And if I remember back then, a trip to Nairobi from Homa Bay was quite a long journey. It would be more than 12 hours to get to Nairobi. So he would protect the computer with everything he could. Yeah. But being the cheeky kid I was,
child. I was waiting for this part.
His shop didn't run on Sundays. Okay. So you'd always ask him if you could go clean it up, Yeah, it's dirty. They want a clean place on Monday. So yeah, he would hand you the key, but with all the cautions. So that is when I would be brave enough, because my dad was also, he would punish you.
Disciplinarian.
He was very disciplinarian. So it was a risk. If he knew, I would get some strokes. Yeah, so I would spend some time in the room myself. I'd lock it up so that if anybody knocked, I had enough time to
switch off and
open. So those are the moments that I got really interested in computers. But the term techie was not anything close.
Yes.
I did not look at it as a potential career. It was just playing games most of the time, and just learning how to type here and there. Like, you have all the space to do whatever you want to do at that time. And then you close, head back home.
But looking back now,
yeah,
that whole process makes sense, doesn't it?
it does.
Yeah.
It does. It started making sense much earlier.
Okay.
Because one time there was something wrong with the computer. And it was something very, very simple, because I'd spent enough time with the machine, probably more than anyone, because I would spend like 6-8 hours myself.
Wow.
Every other person during the week would mostly just with the computer, but for a specific task.
Yeah.
But for me, I would explore. So there was something wrong with it, and I told my dad I could fix it.
How old were you?
13.
Wow.
Yeah. And he did not trust me, so I said, okay, go ahead. So that's the day I earned my respect and my access to the computer.
What?
Yeah.
You fixed it?
Yeah, because it was simple. I think it was either a diskette stuck, I think, in the computer, and you just needed a bit of pushing. The button maybe was just not working as expected.
But you fixed it.
At least the business
didn't get stuck.
Yes, continued. So I earned my right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my respect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he started trusting you more with it?
He started trusting me more with it. I had access, and I think 2 or 3, maybe 3 years on, I became his technician. So at least I was saving him money. Yeah.
Okay, so you went to high school.
Yeah.
Did you know what you wanted to do after high school?
Growing up as a child, I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Not for any unique reasons. It's just like every kid in school wanted to be a doctor.
Yes, the white-collar jobs.
Yes, it felt like one thing that would earn you the best life. You'd play a very critical role in the society.
Yes.
Because everybody looked up to a doctor somehow when you went to the hospital or things like that. But I wasn't a straight A student.
Oh, you weren't?
No,
surprising.
No, because when I was in school, I struggled with all the things I needed to learn, to be considered a good student, a good pupil.
What was the struggle?
For me, I liked focusing. So if I realized math is what was my problem, that whole time I'll just be studying math. So I'll get like high grades in mathematics.
And then everything else.
Yeah, and then other things, some average,
Yes.
So that meant that I was not the very best, but I still managed to be, maybe the top 10 kids.
Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Enough to pass and advance to the next stage. So I wasn't a bookworm.
Okay.
I liked a lot of things that are more practical, Instead of teaching me, show me how to do it, as I learn, that type of thing. But our education setting wasn't
set up like that.
Yeah, it wasn't set up like that.
Yeah.
So I knew I was not going to be a doctor because by the time we were doing our KCPE, they would tell you this is what you need to be this profession. This is what you need to be this profession. So I ended up in high school, Mbita High School. Mbita,
around here?
Yeah, Mbita is in, Rusinga?
I know of Rusinga, yes.
Yeah, so it's closer to
to
Rusinga. The late Otieno Kajong, the MP.
Yes, was MP in Mbita.
Was a Mbita MP,
yes.
And he was also an alumni for our school.
Aha.
So I went to Mbita High School.
Okay.
And at that time, I already knew my way around the computer quite a bit, Mbita High School, fortunately, and it was quite rare then, had computer studies as part of the
curriculum.
Yeah, official curriculum by the school. So I quickly picked it up, and while I was advancing in that, I knew I wanted to study computer science. So that's when you're trying to understand what courses or what programs, degree programs are related to what you're interested in, and then computer science came up. So I was like, okay, this sounds like my thing.
Yeah.
Because Form 1, Form 2, it was pretty easy for me. There are things I'd learned when I didn't join high school. So I found it I always liked the path of least resistance. So this one I already know, so it will help me add up to my mean score.
Okay. So you finished high school, you knew it's computer science for you. Is that what you pursued?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I went to Mombasa University for my computer science
The boy
degree
finally
program.
went to university.
Yeah. So I would still make it to such kind of program, but I would not be the top. Medicine wanted you to everything A.
Everything at the top,
yes. That was too much concentration for me.
Okay, so Maseno, computer science. So how did you move or connect from getting your degree in computer science to the community work or to co-founding LakeHub? And you have to tell us what LakeHub is.
Sure.
Was that the immediate thing after your degree? Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Straight out of college.
Yes.
That was like the first venture I ever did,
Okay. So what is LakeHub?
Well, before I tell you about LakeHub, maybe I can tell you a bit about what led to that.
Yeah, sure.
Because I mentioned that my dad was a businessman and he used computers for business. So the concept that computers could be a business tool was already instilled in me at a very young age. Because when I earned my access to the computer, I got closer to my dad's business. So I got to understand it a lot more.
To understand business.
Yes, to understand how business works and how computers were just a tool for that. And then after high school also, back in the day, you take like 2 years before you join campus. I got my first job as a computer trainer. So it was the thing that after high school, people would go learn computers. But for me, after high school, I went to teach computers. Some of my students were my classmates in high school or in primary school. So the people who wanted to start computer colleges, especially in Mombasa, there were not enough teachers, so they would look for people who already have enough skills. So that's how I got my first job. And it broadened my scope in that this skill can actually transform people's lives. Just looking at how the first time somebody sits as your student, they are too afraid even to touch the computer. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 months in, they have the confidence, they can do so much with it. It was also just when cyber cafes were now just becoming common thing in smaller towns, and people started opening their first email addresses.
The Yahoos.
Yes, the Yahoos. People started opening Facebook accounts at cyber cafes. So I could just see the trajectory of just a small scale, how it transforms somebody's life. So the reason why I say that is because it kind of led to why I started LakeHub. So LakeHub is just like a bigger scale of my dad's small cyber cafe, back in Homa Bay. So when I was in Maseno, it was a great experience because it gave me a lot of opportunities to do things outside the class, because I really didn't enjoy being in class most of the time, So I am the type of student who would want to join clubs, find out what's going on there. So I joined this club, which was started by friends of mine who are my senior, like the computer club at the university.
Of course.
But it was more than a computer club, because we started hosting talks, like TEDx talks at the university. So and one of our speakers at one point came to introduce the term social entrepreneurship to us in school. That was, just to put in perspective, in 2011, 2012, I'm in my second year at the university. So I got to learn about social entrepreneurship, with that you can create an impact in the community while you're doing a business, So after that, I got a chance to work with Google when I was at the university.
Oh, wow.
And Intel as well. So they had these programs where they call them student ambassadors. So Google will identify 1 or 2 students in every university who will be like their focal point to train other people their new skills and new technologies.
It's amazing. And you were the chosen one?
Yeah.
From Masen?
Yes.
It's amazing.
It was. And actually, I'm the one who brought the program to the university.
Oh.
It wasn't there.
You weren't looking for them?
Yes. I spent a lot of time on the internet.
Yes.
And part of it was, of course, for knowledge, but also how I can grow myself. So I come across this opportunity. Google is looking for ambassadors. I look at the universities that are participating. Maseno is not one of them. So I said, let me give it a shot. So the reason why that is also important, it exposed me to a world beyond Maseno University. Because with Google came trips outside the country.
Yes, to Silicon Valley?
Silicon Valley much later, but not through Google.
You have been there, okay.
Yeah. So actually my first passport was paid for by Google because I had to have a passport to travel.
Yes.
And
So what were you traveling for?
For conferences, mostly meeting other university students, and then you get challenged and you realize that there's a lot more happening in the world than in your little cocoon in the in Maseno. So that opened a world of opportunities for me. And at that time, that was about now 2012, going to 2013.
Yeah.
I'm just about to wind up my university studies. There was a lot going on in the tech scene in the country, primarily in Nairobi. So being the person I am, I was already exposed to all these conferences, a lot of things. I started learning the art of networking, talking to people, sharing your stories, and selling whatever thing you're doing. I got attracted to what was going on at the iHub in Nairobi, because that was like the main thing at that particular time. So I would travel to Nairobi for meetups. If there was a meetup about this particular tech group,
you go.
I would go. If there was like a pitch competition, I would participate or just attend. But that meant like 8-hour bus rides every other time. And I'm still a student. So I thought to myself that it's great what's happening in Nairobi, but I think there's a lot of brilliant people in many other places, and Kisumu was not an exception. So that's when the idea of starting something, then it was not called LakeHub, came into mind. That after school, for me, it was not a business or an organization. I just wanted to build a community of techies or people who enjoyed learning about technology.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's where the idea was born.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we'll take a short commercial break, then we'll come back now to delve into exactly what LakeHub does. Okay, and to you watching, don't go too far. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Acacia Premier Hotel provides fully serviced boardroom facilities such as catering for meetings, providing free high-speed wireless internet to video conferencing and state-of-the-art audio-visual equipment with an adjacent private meeting room and business center that ensure all your business needs are met. Are you planning for a memorable event, meeting, training or conference? Acacia Premier Hotel offers extensive meeting and event facilities equipped with the latest system and materials including LCD projector, paper flip charts, CD, DVD player, faster internet access, whiteboards and markers, inbuilt PA system and automatic drop-down projector screens. The Grand Ballroom has a capacity of 600 pax and can break into smaller meeting rooms with a spacious breakout area for buffet setups, cocktails and healthy breaks. There is also an exquisite boardroom of 12 packs and a lounge.
Welcome back. It's What's Your Story? Today we have the co-founder of LakeHub here in Kisumu. His name is Mr. James Odede. So you co-founded LakeHub with whom?
It was a group of other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a group.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about this, it was not just me thinking about it. There were other people in Kisumu who were also thinking about starting
people
something.
You knew or people you came to know?
I came to know them,
okay.
But there was a link, meaning one of, remember I said I was part of
clubs and
and also organizing TEDx talks.
Yes.
So this group came from like the TEDx Kisumu chapter. So there's a lady who was part of the group that I already worked with in organizing one of the other TEDx events. So they mentioned, you should talk to James because he's doing a similar thing, or he's, has some passion towards that. So this group that I remember, it was Ivan Green and my friend Simeon Obogo. They came down to Maseno to meet me. I was in my final year. And we had this conversation about LakeHub. Okay, so at that time they already coined the name.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it was Simeon that coined the name, that if we're going to start something like this, we should call it LakeHub, because we're by the lake and a hub that brings people together.
Take us together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's, we met, and I think it was just like the final weeks at the university. So we decided to team up and start LakeHub.
Nice.
Yeah.
This was 2014?
2014, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what, 6.5 years?
6.5
since
years.
Inception.
Yeah.
So what is the main purpose of LakeHub?
So from my point of view, when we started, it came from the belief that there's a lot of talent in this region. If we just give them a lot of some exposure in technology, they can be able to do much. So it started off like a community, like a group of young people who are passionate about technology and want to learn for various reasons, for fun, to get a job, to start a company, or things.
All valid.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is what it was, just a community of young techies.
Yes.
That is what it started like.
They're like crazy haired people, or
no,
it's just a
normal
co-founder who's like...
No, not really. Just normal looking guy, just interest in tech.
Yes.
So that's what we started like. And because, so just a step back, when I was in my final year, I got a grant from Google.
Oh, nice. Because you are still an ambassador.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I got a grant from Google, but on a different program. They wanted me to, you would call it tech evangelism, like get as many young people as possible interested in tech.
Yes.
But this time we want you to go to high school. Okay. Implement this program in as many schools as you can. The intention is just teach them one or two things about tech, so that they know it's one of the possibilities in their careers for people who are not exposed to this.
Wow.
So that is what the grant was about.
Okay.
So I implemented that in Kisumu. It was 10,000 USD. I felt that was a lot of money.
It is a lot of money even now.
Yeah. And I was expected to implement a program, manage the funds, and report to Google. I have no work experience at this time because I'm just finalizing my final year. But I had the support of the team that were there at LakeHub, and they allowed us also to use part of the funds to set up like a space for LakeHub.
Nice.
So now we opened up this space, which in hindsight, it was just like a free cyber cafe. Desks, high-speed internet. Just come and sit,
and
with your laptop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was laptops. We didn't have desktops.
Okay.
So it was just tables.
Okay.
People would come with their laptops,
nice.
sit. So in the midst of that, in people's free time, there will be conversations. Like what can we do? How can things be better? Or this and this is happening. There's a new technology here. So it was just to bring people together, and then now whatever comes out of it is what led to where we are today. And we ended up being focused on young people, because that's where my passion is, and to decentralize really access to technology and tools so that many young people could learn and unlock whatever opportunities lie ahead of them.
And also understand what it is, so that if it's something they want to pursue, then they can.
Yes. So we started off by training software developers because there wasn't a lot about training software developers in the universities. Yet there was a growing demand for software developers. Before we started a formal training, we'd hold what we called meetups. So we'd say, today we're learning Android development, or today we're learning something about the web technology. Okay. So come, free, At the start, I was the one who was facilitating most of the sessions.
Right.
But later on, people joined.
How would you advertise for them to come?
Just Facebook.
Ah.
Yeah. WhatsApp wasn't popular then.
It was mostly
so
Facebook.
It's just you design a simple poster
Yeah.
and then you put it out there.
And they would come?
Yeah, people would come. You know? Actually, it's good that I mentioned this because before we had our own space, there were a lot of other people who were very generous to us. I remember one guy called Bill Omamo. He used to run a restaurant at Mega City. Through one of our friends even, he allowed us to use a section of his coffee shop on Sundays. So he would give us mandazis as long as we bought tea.
That's a very good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we started off as that. And then we realized that a lot of young people, after learning the skills, not all of them wanted to get jobs. You know, they wanted to start their own companies. And how do we support them to start their own company? So that's the next level of LakeHub became like now a business incubator here in Kisumu.
Yes.
Where, you know, we support young people with ideas, you know, especially tech-driven ideas at the start. The focus on tech is related to my passion, but also the belief that tech gives you a chance to leapfrog. You know, you can accelerate much faster and scale your innovation a lot faster.
Yeah.
So that's how we graduated into a business incubator.
Yes.
And growing on, we started also doing research work because these innovators needed data to innovate. So we needed to do some bit of research to support that and also to understand which areas do we have the biggest problems to solve.
Yes.
So that's the evolution of LakeHub, and now we have a team of about 13 people, and we've worked with over 6,000-7,000 young people in Kisumu and Western Kenya.
Yes.
In
have
our
you
different
moved
programs.
from the coffee shop?
When we got the grant from Google at the start,
Yes.
we rented a space,
your
which
own
was like
office space.
a small corner. Yeah. But we've now grown to a much bigger space here in Milimani.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 13 people are the members of this organization, the staff?
No, like the staff, because it's now a business.
It's a business, yes. So you're employing 13 people. Wow,
directly,
well done.
but
directly,
indirectly,
yeah,
a lot
of course,
more.
There are many, but that's quite something.
Yeah.
So what are some of the projects LakeHub is involved in? Especially maybe over the last couple of years, since at least when you stabilized.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you've done in this community that you're recognized for?
Well, we are recognized for our championing of technology education in schools, because we still do that.
Okay.
We've worked with over 35 high schools now to train high school girls, and we're still doing it every year. There's a focus in girls in this particular component.
Okay.
Because
Why?
there's very the representation of women in technology is low. So this is part of our effort to get more young people into the technology field.
Right.
And after the training, they enroll for competitions sometimes. And we've done this also with Safaricom before. And one of the girls from our group went on to win an African challenge called Technovation. They flew to the US, met Google CEO. Later on, they...
What?
Yeah, I was so happy for them. Later on, they won the Africa of the Year award for their innovation while they're still in high school.
What was the innovation?
They built an app to help save other girls who are trapped in FGM.
Wow.
Yeah. So they won the Africa of the Year award, and they built it through our training program.
Right.
Yeah. And I think they also participated they were finalists in the Sakov Award last year, 2 years ago. So that's one of the stories that also,
that's huge.
That was huge.
Yes.
Other than that, we've worked with a number of organizations on how they can infuse technology in their solutions. So helping them build tech products to reach more marginalized communities, like one we did with an organization called Cash, which is mostly working with key population and also working in the domestic violence space. They're not able to reach as many people as possible, especially when COVID came. So we developed a tool to help them do that, and they've been able to reach thousands through that. And that is also such projects as undertaken by alumni of our training,
yes.
so that their skill have a relevance in the community, and quite a number of other projects as well. Yeah.
There's one the governor talked about, you are championing for the county.
Yeah.
The business incubation, what did he call it? The entrepreneur business incubation center or something like. Could you just give it the right?
Well, so last year, the governor set up what is called Kisumu Economic and Social Council. And he appointed me as a council member in that council. So the body is to advise the governor on economic prosperity of the county and also the social well-being of the county. So through that, I have been championing my contribution towards how young people can be more involved. And I believe that if you give young people a platform to use their minds, the possibilities are limitless. So when they are working on Kisumu Business and Incubation Center, because this is an area that I'm experienced in, I've been supporting with that process, because the goal is to see somebody with an idea, however remote area it is, how can they be supported to bring it up and make it,
make it
something,
work.
Because innovation can come from any place. It's not an elitist kind of an area. So that's the goal of that, and it's still work in progress.
So what do you aim to do with that?
Well, it's a county project. But really the plan is to, how can you go to the remotest areas, enlighten young people on the opportunities that exist, and how they can use their minds to create solutions that can eventually be businesses that can employ other young people and grow. Once you enlighten them, then you provide them with the resources, be it the training in the innovation process, be it access to digital tools, be it support with their business at advanced level, investment in their businesses as well.
So what challenges have you had to overcome to get to where you are now at your very young age?
There has been quite a number of challenges. But for me, it started from a point of passion. And I didn't set out to build a business. So at the very beginning, I was not looking at numbers. Numbers can discourage you because numbers speak the truth, So I made decisions very subjectively at the very early ages. So that if something didn't work here, I think another thing. If I met somebody and they didn't see the reason why, they didn't see that this is an opportunity, because coming out of college, you're starting something like LakeHub. You have no networks, nobody knows you, if you talk to people, they think you're just a kid trying to have fun, especially when you mention technology. So a lot of the time, persistence became the tool. And this persistence, I think it was kind of natural because I had so much passion in the work that I was doing. But I also had to learn, because when you have an organization, there's too many things that come with it. And there's no excuse that you're still young. There's no organization of a young person. The standard is the same.
It's an organization.
You are still expected to pay salaries. You're expected to pay tax. You're expected to raise funds. Fundraising was quite a challenge. But with time, you get to learn. You move on.
You move on. You take each day as it comes. I mean, now you have 13 staff members, direct.
Sure. And that's not the only thing. We've actually, a number of alumni in the hundreds have gotten jobs from our training.
Jobs in tech?
Yes, mostly jobs in tech. So organization would approach us, hey, we're looking for somebody with this skill. and we opened those
So now your organization is known far and wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and it
very
will be known more through this story.
And it's more networked now.
Yeah,
People know. I mean, by the time some of your kids are going to meet the Google CEO, I mean, what else do you want to do? Who else do you want to meet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had said earlier that you had gone to Silicon Valley through.
Oh yeah, I did. The first time, I went through a fellowship program called Mandela Washington Fellowship. I'm sure you know it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did that in 2017. And I was posted at the heart of the Silicon Valley. It was so much fun.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And because a lot of the things I just read, watched YouTube about them, but now going to going to Twitter HQ. I remember going to Square HQ and meeting Jack, the founder of Twitter. I remember going to all those HQs for all these big tech companies. It was just quite an eye opener because it made me think that the sky is not the limit. There's a lot that we can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's possible. Yeah. And that's the message you brought back home.
That's the message I brought back.
So how are you using tech in agriculture, given where we live? How much of a potential that is? How is the organization using its skills and resources to enhance or develop agriculture in this region?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that agriculture has to benefit in technology. Actually, technology should be the center of agriculture in today's world because we have more mouths to feed than we can dig, and the issues of climate change are becoming quite a challenge to agriculture. So the only way to make agriculture work in today's world is technology. Why do I say so? Because it can enable what we call precision farming, where you use all the data that is available, and as a farmer, you make decisions based on those data. So you're not just plowing, hoping that there'll be rain, but there'll be rain, and it will be in this quantity. That way you make the right.
Wow, you even know the quantities.
You can actually, yes.
Through some app.
No, the weather forecasting right now is advanced. We can tell when the rains will come and how much,
So you prepare.
But also there's the challenge of climate change. So sometimes a couple of surprises here and there.
Yeah. So your hand is in that as well.
Yes, we've supported a number of entrepreneurs in that space, notably a young man called Dave, who is in the fish farming space. So we supported him with introducing what we called IoT in his solution.
What's IoT?
IoT is Internet of Things.
So you should have just said that. I know that phrase. I don't know how it's abbreviated.
Yeah, so yes, and he's working with fish farmers to help them measure the parameters of fish farming and make decisions via an app. So that's something we supported him with, and it's making some good progress as well.
Wow. Which other areas of the economy have you touched?
Well, agriculture is one, like you've said, education, health, and I think we're now also doing something in transport. I think those are the main areas that we've worked in so far. Yeah.
So in the midst of all of these creations and innovations and tech, you found time for a family.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I'm married. I recently had our first kid.
Oh, well done. The firstborn.
Sure. She's 3 weeks old now.
So you're not sleeping.
Yeah. It's
what's the experience like?
I haven't had so much fun without sleep, but
but techies don't need sleep anyway.
I'm a different kind. I value my sleep.
You want your sleep?
I value my sleep. Actually, in my entire life, I have never been in a situation where I have interrupted sleep.
Until now?
Until my kid came in. I always go to bed if it's at 10. I wake up at 5. Yeah, but now I have to wake up like 6 times before 5.
And then prepare to leave the door at some point, go to work.
Yeah. Okay.
But
it's a beautiful experience.
Yes.
I got married in 2019, just before the pandemic.
Wow,
so,
at least you already had many people.
Yeah,
so like now they only allowed
didn't
15.
have many people.
Okay. It didn't?
No.
Okay.
We had 70.
Compared to now, that's many.
Yeah, we had 70. But it was like we got married in December, and then I think 4 months in, pandemic
Lockdowns
came.
and things.
Yeah, and then, well, I knew getting married means you spend a lot of time with your wife, but not at the level of the pandemic.
You were not ready for 247 presents.
Yes, but it was a beautiful experience. At least we had a baby out of it.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
Is she a techie too?
No, actually my wife is the opposite.
Okay.
She's more of a creative person.
So on the innovation side to things.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, that's really good. So what are your hopes for LakeHub? Where are you taking the organization, you and your co-founder friends?
Well, my co-founder friends, they left at some point.
Okay. So who are you with?
It's actually me.
Alone?
No, not alone. I have like...
Well, as in the Dawn, now the Dawn.
No, we are now running it with my colleague called Dorcas.
Okay.
Yes.
So why do you still have co-founder as opposed to founder? Founding president.
I think that term always mean that you did not build it alone. Yeah, because I didn't work on it alone. So there's always a lot more support that
actually,
yeah.
Okay.
I got a lot of support. But now the plan is there's a lot that we can do. There's still a lot of opportunities. We've hardly scratched the surface, really, especially if you're looking at the kind of problems that exist in our society today. There's a lot that we can do to bring change. So the plan is to build a team, a team that can steer this organization to address the challenges that we are facing. Yeah. So we are still in the process of building that team.
Yeah.
Yes. Because once you have the right people, everything falls into place.
It's true.
Yes.
It's about having the right people.
That's true.
Yeah. We need to
and creating more partnerships with organizations.
Yes.
Working with the county government here, working with development organizations.
Yes.
Who also have an interest in the region and working with young people. Yeah.
Are you still an ambassador for Google, or you graduated to now?
It was a Google student.
Student, yeah. So now you graduated to something.
No. But we've had a chance to work with them in a number of projects.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the benefit of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, they know who to call if they need something.
True.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow, man, James, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And
it's wonderful talking to you.
I wish you the best
Thank
in
you.
all your next steps. And yes, please change the region and save our young people from suicide and all of these bad things that are happening to them.
Yeah.
Just you do your bit to save them.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned suicide, because we can see that there's a lot of it happening now.
Yeah.
And I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think once somebody gets to the point where they have to take their life, then they've lost hope.
Yes.
And if there's a role we can play to give them hope that there's better life, there's actually something you can do to help other people, then maybe we'll save lives through that.
How can people get in touch with you, by the way? LakeHub, you can tell them?
You can reach LakeHub through our social media links. On Facebook, Twitter, we are at LakeHub. We are located in Milimani, in Kisumu. Our website is www.lakehub.co.ke. Feel free to engage us if you have any ideas that you need help with. If there are projects around working with young men and women, we're happy to talk to you on how we can make them work.
Okay, wonderful. So LakeHub on all the social media platforms?
Yes.
Wonderful. And James Odede as well?
Yeah, James Odede.
You're also there?
Yeah. I spent some time there.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you again.
My pleasure.
And have yourselves a beautiful week.